point where like you got to click on them for them to go away, and then you just X out of it.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Gaffing the Truth. My name is Jeff with a G, and as always, I've got with me, who's actually today is going to actually above me, which is Scabs the Clown. How's it going, Scabs?
Hey, what's up, man? Sorry, I was still looking stuff on Facebook. I'm doing all right, man. How are you? How are you?
I'm doing all right. We had the big Give a Hoot show that was this past Saturday, which went over really, really well. Raising memberships. I know we got a few extra memberships out of the show, which is always appreciated for people to be a part of the Great Southern Sideshow Hootenanny. And then I had
That was a very fun show too.
Dude, like every show is getting better. And so
Yeah.
First one was good. This next show was really good. The next show for December is going to be amazing. I'm not going to disclose everybody's going to be on the show, but there's some really big talent can be on even the next show. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to see how it goes.
Yeah. But otherwise, nothing really that much. As I was mentioning before we got started, because I like it's that weird kind of talking shop, and it's probably like that. So there's a really great sideshow banner artist who was selling some prints of his stuff that are very rare, and so I got 5 of these prints. I'm going to show off one that I have right now, which is the Clothed in Snakes.
Like that one.
It was really good. Like it was like a human blockhead. There's a tattooed mermaid. There's a frog boy. I got 5 all said and done. If people want to see what those look like, tune in Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on this show, on this channel for the Devil's Hour. Because I'll have those up on the wall, and you'll see those behind me. But yeah, that's basically been my excitement. Other than work.
Yeah. I didn't have a show this weekend for the first time in a while, and it was kind of weird, but getting back into the groove of being a normal person again, which is fine.
So how many blockhead acts were you doing in front of your cats? Just so that we have some sort of group, just
any excuse to like just put a fork up my nose, I'll take.
Yeah.
But man,
what?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was gonna do the awkward segue to get into what we're talking about today.
Yeah, go for it. I like awkward segues.
That's true. That's why you don't see them on wheels. Today, every month for the Gaffing the Truth, at the end of the month, we always talk about 2 different subjects. One month we usually talk because they're boundless as far as their information and stories. So we talk about aliens one month, and then the other month we talk about ghosts, because ghost stories are as universal and as timeless. They've been around forever, and everybody seems to have something interesting and weird to talk about. And I know you reached out today through the social medias, and yep, I ain't afraid of that. To talk about some fun stories and stuff like that. And I know you had a really crazy outpouring of both real and kind of goofy. So what would you like to start with?
I sent the link.
I just want
What's up?
The other caveat of the fact is that we may have people popping on to tell their stories. So that's the other reason why we're set up this way, so that way it's a lot easier for people to pop on and off, because otherwise it's a nightmare trying to get people in and out to try to set up like a cool screen. So that's why.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, I was gonna say, if you I know you've we also like just scour the internet like for random stories, but if you want to start with just something you found that's interesting, just to see if anybody pops on, and if not, I can just start going into some of the stories I got on here.
Sure. Let's talk about so I decided to look into this because I decided to look into some places, because I live here in Austin, Texas, and so I thought I would look into some of the more haunted places here in Austin. And so I figured I'd start with the Driscoll Hotel. So the Driscoll Hotel has been linked as probably one of the most haunted venues in the city, because it was actually in the city. The Driscoll Hotel was actually built back in 1885 by a Colonel Jesse Driscoll, who is said to still roam the halls of the hotel, lighting cigars and turning on lights in the guest rooms. Basically, his presence is felt by the way of like the scent of cigar smoke, because in today's age nobody smokes in hotels anymore, but you can still kind of smell it. And then there's a portrait apparently at the on top of the staircase in the lobby, which like stares at you like Vigo the Merciless from like Ghostbusters 2. Apparently, there's also a little girl named Samantha who plays on that staircase as well, like a ghost.
That seems to be a pretty common thing in hauntings, like you know, like just a child playing. Like, I mean, I've experienced weird things like that, but also you ever watch like a ghost documentary? Like, it's like, oh, all will come bouncing out of nowhere, or you'll hear somebody tapping a little tune on the stairs or something.
Yeah. Well, supposedly the little girl Samantha is her name, was a daughter of a senator who died falling down those stairs. Apparently, there was another young girl, some other young lady in there, scares people in various rooms, and what else? And apparently, on the fifth floor of the hotel, there's a portrait of a little girl holding flowers and a letter who adorns the hallway. And supposedly, people just say that the eyes will follow you as you walk past, which is supposed to be kind of scary. And oh, hey, we got somebody coming in. Hey,
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
doing good.
Howdy.
What's going
How
on?
you doing, man? So you figured it out? You got through?
Yeah. I'm totally like the worst like computer. I'm not even a computer guy at all.
Hey, me neither, man. I totally feel you.
I don't even have my name set right on here. I gotta figure out how to change that.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody who could be watching either now or later? Because that's the great thing about this show is people could be watching later. So
Yeah. My name's Adam. Adam Flores. From Houston area. I saw Scabs posted something about paranormal things earlier. I actually had an experience last night. So I've never had something happen to me when I was awake per se. I get a lot of sleep paralysis, and if you don't know what sleep paralysis is, it's whenever you're kind of going in between an awake and an asleep state, and you can't move your body. You can look around, you can see things, you can hear things. It's terrifying if you've never experienced it. A lot of people think they're dying the first time they have it. I had it a lot as a kid. It started ramping up when I was in the military, and it just got worse, as I got older. But I never really saw anything. It was freaky, but not a big deal. The first time I ever had any kind of experience with, I guess, what you would call the paranormal, I was at a hotel room. We had a party with some friends of ours. It was time for everybody to go to sleep. I fell asleep on the couch, and a friend of mine was talking to this girl that he just met on the couch, on the pull-out couch next to me. And so I was just trying to go to sleep. I had my hand in the cushions. And so I kind of saw something out of the corner of my eye. I woke up and I realized I was paralyzed. And, not a big deal. I could hear them talking, so I wasn't freaking out. I always feel a little bit safer whenever I hear people,
Mm-hmm.
And so I see out of the corner of my eye, my friend Evan kind of like lean up and get off the pull-out couch. And he runs over to me. This is when I was in the military. He puts his forehead to my forehead, and he starts rubbing my hand real soft. And which, it's not too weird. Guys in the military do, funny things like that all the time. And,
Guys in general.
Yeah. Well, yeah, too. Yeah. You're right. And I thought he was just like trying to make this girl laugh or something. And I kind of realized that my left hand that was in the couch, I could feel everything that was getting touched on my right hand mirrored on my left. And that kind of spooked me. I wasn't able to truly look. When I kind of was able to move a little bit to the right, I realized that I was staring at something that was about 4 feet tall. It was gray, had a very big head and a very small body, similar to like what people would call grays, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like it was an alien at all. I could still hear them on the couch talking, and this primal fear shot through my body. It had no face. Its forehead was to my forehead. It was bald. And I was 21 years old staring at the monsters under my bed that I had never saw growing up, that I was terrified of. And I'm looking at it now for real for the first time. And I couldn't do anything except for just take it and scream and thrash. You know, I'm trying to yell, but all it's getting out is, you know, mumbles. And I can hear my friend Evan on the couch pointing and laughing and talking to that girl. Say, look, he's having a bad dream. He's having a bad dream, which made me realize that what was happening to me was real. You know, well, at least to me, it was real. It's as real as, you know, this conversation we're having right now. And I finally was able to shake myself awake. I had never experienced anything like that. I had, you know, everybody has their moments of fear in the world, but like this shook me so deep that I couldn't sleep for weeks. I kept having nightmares. I kept having, you know, more and more sleep paralysis, because now when you think about it, now it's really going to happen more often. And, you know, I didn't see too many things all the time. As time went on, I kind of was able to get past it. Things kind of petered out once I kind of accepted that, you know, this is going to keep happening and I just have to deal with it.
I've only dealt with sleep paralysis like twice in my entire life, and I haven't like seen anything. I've heard a lot of great stories about things. Kind of look at it as, you know, like that third eye perception thing, like when you like eat some fungus or put some paint in your tongue, and you kind of like you see something's not really there, but it's there.
Yeah,
fascinate me because like the only experiences I've had, one time I was like laying on my stomach, passed out, and I woke up and it felt like somebody was just pushing the pillow. I could not. Felt like somebody was sitting on my back, pushing my head into the pillow. I couldn't breathe, and then right when I felt like I was gonna pass out, but I was like awake for the whole time, and I was completely incapacitated.
Yeah, that's actually a very common theme, is that people feel that they're being held down or, you know, pushed down. I've had something push me from my back that I couldn't see as well. You know, and there's also stories that, you know, from around the world that are all so similar. You know, a lot of people call them shadow people, things like that, and they come in many different forms. What freaks me out so much about this, that makes me feel that this is real, is because so many people from so many different cultures report such similar scenarios.
Yeah, everyone's seeing the same thing. And another common theme I've noticed with sleep paralysis, when it's more common in people, like more religious people, but if invoking the name of Jesus or God actually helps.
Yeah. Or
it stops it, or helps, or they can actually see whatever's, you know, assaulting them move back.
Yeah. So I actually last night,
which I don't know if that works for like anybody. I've only read it like more of the religious stories.
One of the things that's helped me is to realize that, you know, it's okay to be terrified shitless of what's going to happen. As long as I, you know, whether it be look it in the face or let it know, like, you're not going to, I don't know, take me without a fight or whatever it is. Last night was actually a breakthrough for me. I was going through sleep paralysis. My wife heard me thrashing. She started waking me up. I heard something. The only thing I can think of, it sounded like what a goblin might sound like. And it was in my room. I couldn't see it because it was like at the foot of my bed, but beneath the bed. And it was just, you know, making this and kind of in a language kind of thing. And I just kept repeating, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want with me? And I was, you know, scared shitless. But I mean, I was pretty proud of myself to actually try to confront it, you know, and I think that's really the only way I'm going to be able to get through this, is to confront whatever the hell is going on.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully you can still do that. Like, I mean, if you've kind of had that breakthrough, if you've been dealing with this for a long time, you've had that breakthrough where you can actually speak while you're going through sleep paralysis. That's definitely that's something.
Yeah. And I'll say it takes practice. It
Yeah, I'll
takes a
bet.
lot of being paralyzed for a long time.
Yeah. Well, damn. That, yeah, no, sleep paralysis, and like fuck, we could do a whole episode on shadow people. Shadow people are like
Yeah,
just very interesting.
for
But
sure.
man, I'm glad you figured this out and you're able to pop on with us
Yeah,
for a minute and say everything.
yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
cool.
good. Yeah, good for you for your figuring your stuff out. I mean, it's I've read. I'm the skeptic, so
No, yeah, you
for
should
this
be.
sort of stuff. Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, you know, our understanding of our own perception to what the natural world is going on within this, it just is like this big, and so
Absolutely.
sometimes people think it's just like something weird and crazy or like that. It's just more of our mind just not being able to process something weird and stuff like that, or even something that's not weird. It's just that fact is that your body's having some issues, which you said you're in the military and stuff like that, and probably
Yeah.
did you have sleep paralysis before the military?
I had it a couple times before the military. It really kicked off in Afghanistan when we were running, 36 hours and then getting
Yeah,
3-4 hours of sleep and then doing it again. That really kind of screws
that
you up.
that will screw up your system, like of course.
mhm.
So no, it's the fact is that I mean that's your body's trying to process some stuff, which it gets it. The fact is that you're willing to, you're figuring out a way to try to confront it. That's a good thing, regardless whether or not it's an actual goblin or just a goblin up here. You're willing to confront it and make it work. It's like the religious stories by just by invoking the name of God. It's like going, what do you want? It's still the
Yeah,
same
absolutely.
difference. So that's good for you that you're figuring that shit out. And so I mean, if it's a goblin, I mean, I don't know that. I mean,
I don't know. I
it's
don't know
just
that. That's just the only thing I could think of what it sounded like. I don't know.
well,
Yeah, I mean,
but
like,
in
yeah,
fact,
it's all perception. So
Yeah,
yeah.
but you're
absolutely.
figuring the fact is you're making that shit work for you, and so that is a good thing. So good for you. And people should. That's what. Hey, that's the lesson to take away from Mr. Adam here is that figure your shit out and work through it.
Yeah,
Because that's the
absolutely.
only way you're gonna get past it. It's the only way you can get done with it is figuring that shit out.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any like weird experiences like that while you're awake?
See, that's the thing is they only happen in this half dream state thing, and the
Mhm.
closest thing I can think of. I don't want to sound too ridiculous, but it's
You're on a show called Gaffing the Truth, man. Sound as ridiculous as you want.
okay. Well, yeah. So
Yeah, you're talking
I
to a
think
clown and a drunken magician, basically.
okay. So when I've tried to do a little bit of research on it, and there's neurological explanations for it all too, but at some point I think that the supernatural coincides with the scientific at some point, and I think I don't like to use the term fourth dimensional or whatever, but I think that somewhere in the middle of sleep and wake, there's I don't want to say the term portal either, but for lack of a better term, a portal
Yeah.
between the two dimensions, if you will, that's things can slip in and out of possibly. And I'm also a skeptic too. But these are just my thoughts.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Like, yeah, I mean, Jeff is definitely a skeptic. I mean, I've had some weird experiences growing up, but I also don't believe in like the traditional ghost.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
believe in like residual energy, like past energy that kind of like is imprinted in a place. So
yeah,
that's why people
absolutely.
like, they'll see like, oh, there's a guy always walking down the hallway. It was like, well, maybe that guy just walked down that hallway every single day and his energy's kind of imprinted there.
Yeah,
So
I
like it's just there and you just kind of pick up on it here and there. Some people have that little perception. Some people don't. Some people don't have it, but still, like every now and then, something will happen to them they can't explain.
yeah,
And
exactly.
since we don't know what any of this is, I mean, that's just a theory.
Well,
We don't know what any of it is, so nothing sounds crazy.
yeah, I mean, and, I heard a quote on the subject of sleep paralysis a few years back. I mean, it really kind of shook me to my core. And the quote was, "How do you stop believing in something that you know is real?" And
Mhm.
it's to me, I know what I've seen. I know how real it feels. I've also, noticed that maybe that one was a dream. Maybe that one didn't happen. There's just too many things where the waking world, like I've fucking watched people vacuum their house while paralyzed and known that they were real and it was really happening, or heard people talking about me. And I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe just my mind is trying to figure something out, and that's
Mhm.
what happens.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, even though I'm a skeptic about a lot of this stuff like that, I never discount anybody's experience because you experience that stuff, so that still can be legit, even if you don't fully understand what it is, and even if
Hmm.
what you think it to be, why that experience comes to be, changes. The fact you still experience that, don't discount it, regardless of where it comes from. So if you think it was goblins today, great, that was still your experience. If you find out tomorrow was some other thing, that doesn't change your initial experience.
Yeah.
So you think
Turns out there's just a little person living in your closet and eating your snacks at night or something like.
Yeah,
I mean, there have been those stories, so that's what's weird.
Oh yeah.
There
some
are those,
meth dwarf living in my
yeah,
closet for months at a time.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There are actually those stories, so that makes sense.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's one of
that's the
those,
thing.
but it's one of those. But don't let don't let future revelations discount what your experience was, because it felt very profoundly for you at the time. In a lot of ways, it helps shape you who you are now. The fact you're still willing to work through it out, figure it out, and stuff like that, that's always a good thing. You're not letting it rest on your laurels either, because that's the danger when it comes to some other stuff. Well, it's this, and it can only be this, and even though when the goes, yeah, but what about this? No, it's this. So it's don't discount the experience. So like if you experience that stuff, good. That's the one thing. Even being the big skeptic, I'm not going to go. Even if I go, well, it's actually this scientific thing, but you still experience the thing. So I don't want you to discount that. So you felt the paralysis, you felt the weird like goblin headed dude, press his forehead against yours. You experienced that for all intents and purposes. Now, whether it's real or not,
Yeah,
that's
I
a
mean,
debatable
well, I
thing.
mean,
It doesn't matter.
no,
Yeah.
to me, it's real. I know that,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Just
still
that's what we were talking
experienced
about.
it.
Perception.
You still experienced that thing. Whether or not it turned out to be your asshole friend fucking with you, just your mind was in that sleep state, so it just processed it differently. It
well,
doesn't discount the fact is that you still felt it.
and I always have the question too, like, what is the significance of all of this? Is there significance? Is it just random?
Yeah, just synapses firing
Yes,
off
that's
and it
where I
just
look
creates
for. Yeah,
that thing. Yeah, exactly.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
or
wrong with
is it
that.
like I was saying earlier, your third eye opening and kind of seeing into, maybe another dimension, or something that's just kind of like right next to our perception of reality that we can't normally see. Like, who knows?
no,
And there's nothing wrong with the randomness. I think that's why people get really
for
excited.
sure.
It had to be a purpose. I go, you know what? Sometimes it is just random shit. That's how it works.
I follow that. I follow that belief as well. That I don't really believe in destiny per se. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in shit happens.
yes, me too. Yeah. Well,
Well,
guys,
man,
I appreciate you guys giving me a chance to put my story out there. And if anybody else, has this problem, like, man, you're not alone. And I hope that you can work towards confronting your fears and your issues, whatever they are, because that's been the only thing that's helped me is to confront it.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good. Maybe,
hell yeah,
maybe in a month or two, we'll bring it back on. We'll actually talk about the whole shadow people and sleep
Hell yeah.
paralysis. We'll just do a show
I'm
together.
definitely down for that. Yeah.
Awesome,
hell yeah,
man.
cool. Well,
All
shit,
right,
man.
guys.
Thanks for popping in. I'm glad you figured out the whole Zoom thing. Like,
Yeah.
it was it took me a while too. So you're all good. But
Yeah.
shit, like, hopefully when things die down a little bit, we get to see each other again, have a beer or something. But I think we're about to have another friend pop in, so we're gonna let you go. But again,
Okay, man.
thank you so much for popping in to tell your stories.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great night.
All right, man.
Hey, you too, man. Later. You won't
I can't figure out how to leave.
I think we can kick you out either way. There we go. Yeah, get rid of him, man. Get out of here.
He got himself. That's okay.
Well, I don't know when Todd's about to pop in, but I can read one of the stories I've got until he
read one of the
shows
stories?
up.
That way, we'll play that game until somebody else pops in. So
Yeah. I mean, there's some stories that like didn't really go into detail. Once I pooped, and when I looked, there was no shit. I got a couple of jokes on there too. One time in grade school, I slept at a kid's house, and the morning after, they put milk in their bowl and then the cereal. Anyways, they're in jail now, and I'm not gonna be like I didn't see it coming. I used to work in the University of Houston, and the building was really old. I believe 1928 or so. I used to see shadows in the basement all the time. Here's a little bit longer one. Somebody I actually know. I've known him for years now. I saw a straight up tall shadow man in a house I was renting. The doors used to lock on their own and random things like that happened, but the figure was seen by me and my roommates and guests we had over. Also, this past week, my daughter woke up and informed me my friend's deceased mother was trying to tell me hi, pointed at the wall, and went back to sleep. She never knew her or her name. Also, kids are fucking freaky.
Well, that's even without the paranormal. Most of them just tend to be. Yeah, that's just.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a kid just kind of like getting lucky or saying something that you could perceive as what they're talking about. But when I was 10 years old, my sister and I shared a room. We slept on a trundle bed. Me being lazy, I just rolled it out but never raised it. One particular night, I decided to raise it up from the floor and went to bed. I woke some hours later because someone was pulling me out of bed by my foot. Me thinking it was my sister, I rose up to tell her to stop, and what I saw wasn't my sister, but an older lady dressed in Victorian clothing with her hair in a bun. She looked to be in her 20s, very pretty lady. I just stared at her frozen for what felt like forever, and before I could shout stop, she looked at me, which scared the shit out of me, and simply vanished. I never raised that bed again, and I never saw her again. I mean, that could be another, just sleep paralysis kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
I mean, because I've definitely woken up and like seen something in my bedroom that's always there and perceived it as something else when I'm half asleep.
Yeah. Especially if it's what you're dreaming about or what you just read about or watched the day previous, your mind can be funky. But it's one of those that goes, it's not that you didn't experience something, but it just may not exactly be what you really, what you think it is may not really what it is, but it doesn't change what you experience. I know sometimes it's hard to just, your perception or truth and fact are not always the same thing. And so, that's why we talk about gaffing the truth. Gaffing the truth is perception. And so that's what we're always talking about versus fact. And so a lot of people think truth and fact are the same thing when that's not necessarily true.
No, your truth is different than my truth.
Yeah,
and our truths are different than everybody else's truth.
Yeah, but if we want to talk facts, then that's a different story. And so, but it's that whole. She experienced it. I'm sure she experienced something like that, and that's how her brain processed it. It doesn't discount her experience.
Yeah,
or in just
and
as Adam a second ago.
Yeah, this next comment. I mean, same thing. You're perceiving it a certain way, but my grandparents sometimes visit me as butterflies, but that's about it. Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
No, that's
another one with like no detail whatsoever. I had a ghost rape me. And I have heard of handsy ghosts, molesty ghosts, and things like that. But
that's
we were actually just watching what was it? I don't believe like 90% of the shit, but I do love Ghost Adventures because I like making fun of Zach Bagans. But yeah, there was somebody on there who was like, there was a burning sensation in my butt, my genitals, like because of a ghost. It was like, okay. Also, I know it's not your thing, but man, they just did an investigation on fucking Joe Exotic's fucking compound.
Oh my god!
Oh my god,
hysterical.
It was so good. It was kind of freaky though. Like, I mean, they had cadaver dogs come out and they found what was possibly a cadaver and all kinds of stuff. Like, it was actually a pretty good episode.
There's talk that there are like dozens of like tigers buried out there.
No. These dogs are trained to sniff out human cadavers. And they found at least one spot, and like the cops came out and everything. So
it's one of the things I go. I deep dove into that. Oh hey, there's Todd. Todd just texted me. I told him to text me first, and so I told him to come on in.
All right. Well, if we got Todd popping in,
yeah, look, I'm on board about Joe Exotic, Tiger King shit. Oh yeah, dude, like fucking like Pop Soap. They're in Houston. Amazing soap company. Not being paid for them, but they have a Tiger King bar, and it smells amazing. I bought it.
I did almost buy there was a Tiger King hot sauce that came out, and I was like, I kind of want it just for the novelty, but I'm weary about buying novelty hot sauce online.
That's also fair. The only reason I bought the Tiger King because we know the guys from Pop Soap, so I go, all right, cool. I know these guys. They're a great local company out of Houston. I'm on board. I like their product. So I bought it. It smells amazing. I haven't used it yet. I just smell it because I'm just like going, I really like this, but if I use it, then it's gone. And I bought some other ones too. So
Yeah.
they start making a hand sanitizer and stuff like that. So I'm like, back when you couldn't get hand sanitizer, they had it, and so I ordered it.
Tired of buying hand sanitizer that smells like tequila. He doesn't want to cuddle because it's mean to him because he jumped up on the bed and hit Ray to get off the bed. Knocked him off the bed. And now he's being butthurt about it. Uh-oh. Connecting to audio. Oh my goodness. Is that my man's? He's not even there.
No, he just showed up and stuff.
These are my spooky photos.
Yeah. Well, on the pre-show stuff, talking to him about me buying some like the prints, and so I think he's showing off what he has now, like a chump. But like his connection isn't going great. Who you guys are seeing is coming on is longtime friend of both myself and Scabs. It's Hot Todd Lincoln. He's popped up on both of our shows. There we go. Hey, what's going on, sir?
Not much. How are you guys doing?
Pretty great, well. Man. Pretty great.
So are we live? Are we doing?
We are live.
Yeah, we're live.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you ready for my my tale of mystery and suspense?
Yes.
Yes.
So years ago, when I was a young lad, which was many years ago, I was in the confirmation class at my synagogue. We actually had confirmation because our bar mitzvah wasn't enough. We had to go through confirmation. So it was like, not just Jewish, but super Jewish, apparently, is what we were going for, right? Upper level Jewish. But at that point, I was weirdly enough voted most likely to be a rabbi. If you can imagine what that would have looked like. But I was the valedictorian of my confirmation class, which was cool. So one of those things, honored tradition, they gave me this. They gave me a Seiko watch, and it's lovely. It has the date, a little window, and tells time. And I mean, it was like in the late 80s, so that's what watches did. They gave you the date and they told time. But
does it glow too?
It does not. It's just shiny during the daylight hours, and then at night you can't read it. But good segue. There was one particular night that I was out and about with my friends, and I wore this watch all the time because, as a young teen, it's like to be given a watch for something was kind of a cool thing, right? I'm
an adult now. I have a watch. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and I earned it. Like somehow, they gave me a watch. I mean, at bar mitzvahs, you got a pen and pencil set, so I was getting pretty much the entire office suite, like pens, pencils, watches. So at some point though, like I'd gone out with my friends, and for whatever reason, I had I jumped in the shower, I did got ready to go, and then was like kind of running late, so I ran out the door and realized somewhere during my time out that I was like, no shit, I left my watch at home, right? No biggie. So we're driving around, and if you see a specter of doom, it is none other than Mia Farrow.
Oh, cutie. Death stare.
Anyway, so she, so I realized I didn't have my watch, but not a big deal. So, going about doing our thing. And on the way home, I had two friends of mine in the car with me. And then we're driving somewhere, and this car is like right on our bumper, like and relentless about it. Like everywhere we stop, they're like right there, and they're chasing us. And it's it's not like we cut anyone off. It's not like we did anything. It was just dudes being jerks, right? And so at some point, they've actually like tapped my bumper once, and they're like, and it's kind of scary because like again, I'm like 16 or so, like I haven't been on the road long, and I've certainly never dealt with this. So at some point, I look over, and it was like there's a car coming, and I thought, all right, I can get through this intersection, and then hopefully like they can't, so I can get some space and then go off. But again, that car that was coming the other way was apparently speeding, and not being a long time driver, I pretty much misjudged the ratio, the physics involved, right? And got T-boned by that car. So my friend who was in the front seat, she like her hip got damaged somewhat, and then my friend in the back seat, his nose got broken, and we flipped over onto a fence. And looking at the car, the driver's side was here, and the passenger side still remained here. So I was basically almost decapitated. But I mean, I didn't, it's like I would have been had I been sitting upright, but it's like I hit the driver's side window and then sort of flopped back over the passenger side, and then so I avoided that. So after going to the hospital, and there was only a little bit of glass in my eye, and my friends were injured but fine, like they were going to make it. Everyone was safe in that regard. Got home, and I must have gotten home at like 3 a.m. at that point, because all the fuss that goes after a pretty hellacious car accident, and going to the hospital and all those things. So we got home, and lo and behold, I saw that my watch was still on my nightstand where it had been, and weirdly enough, it had stopped at the time of the accident. So yeah, pretty much kept it, for the rest of that year, and for many years after, kept it running, kept a battery in it. Although I notice now it stops. So.
Oh, and like I've definitely heard those stories before. Like like this happened and my watch stopped at the same time, or
right.
That, but I've never actually heard one from somebody that I know.
Well,
so that's really cool.
So now you can't say that anymore. But
Well,
yeah,
you can
and
still say it.
Yeah, you can say it, but you'd be a liar at that point. Have you?
Say
You're
it.
called
Now,
Gaffing.
what was it? Were they wearing the watch at the time that something stopped, or was it like it stopped in other places?
It stopped at other places. Kind of like I've heard one, I've heard a couple that it's like, oh, I left my watch at home and it happened, it stopped at this time. And there's been ones where it's like, I realized my watch died and that's the same time that my grandfather died, or,
Sure.
something along those lines. Yeah.
There was the time I left my wallet in El Segundo. Oh wait, no, that's
That's the tribe, man. It's the tribe.
That is a tribe. But yeah, and it's cool. I mean, it's like one of those things where it was like the Stolken Memorial Award on May 19th, 1988. So there we have it.
1988. I was 4 years old.
I was older than that.
Shut up. I was too.
Yeah.
I wasn't born.
So,
Joe wasn't born.
Joe, go sit in the corner. Oh wait, you already are. So anyway, that's my story. I got to go back to the other thing that I was in, but I wanted to drift in and tell my ghost story.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
thank
we
you. That was
appreciate
really
that, man. That's definitely like, man, yeah, some weird stuff. But love you, Todd. Mwah. We'll talk soon.
Oh yeah.
Good night, guys.
Alrighty.
Man, like he was like I was saying, like I've never heard that like from somebody that I actually know. It's always been one of those like internet stories, or you see it in a movie or something like that.
No, yeah, it's yeah. I think I remember him talking about that story a bit ago, because it's that whole it's in the age of the Zoom chat, the Zoom world. With all this, it's not like I see people anymore. It's just I think we talk more now because of the Zoom versus like what we did when I was still in Houston. Actually, no, it's probably roughly the same. I mean, but still, it's like. But other people like I talk to Todd constantly, but I think he made reference to the story a little bit because he goes, "Oh yeah, you guys can talk about this." Well, I have the story, but he kind of gave me like the bare bones of the watch story. I go, "No, yeah, that's why we would. Yeah, cool, come on the show. That'd be a great thing to talk about."
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I can't attest by all this stuff because I wasn't there. It's the skeptic in me just goes, "Well, sometimes things are just coincidental." It's like looking for patterns when there's really no patterns because it makes people feel better, which is still fine.
What is it called? Like when you see a face in like a tree, or like on like on a wall or something.
Drugs. It's called drugs.
Yeah, but when you're not on drugs, it has a name.
I don't remember, but it's the idea of seeing patterns when there's no patterns there is really cool.
Yeah. Your mind just kind of makes something up. It makes a familiar thing.
Well, yeah. There's just give me a second. I'm gonna try to get down. There's actually a thing about it that's called. And I really liked it because I'm going, gee, that's most of the world is trying to see patterns in chaos. Seeing patterns of what's it called? It's called apophenia. Oh no, sorry. Seeing familiar objects or patterns, otherwise random and unrelated objects, is called pareidolia. It is a form of
Pareidolia. Yeah, that's
apophenia.
it.
Yeah, it is a form of apophenia, which is basically it's seeking patterns and random information. And
Hmm.
so yeah, pareidolia, which is a very, I mean,
I think just about everyone has that.
well, that's 90% of religion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just
Yeah. The other 10% is even more convoluted.
well, no, don't get me wrong. It's okay to believe. As I said, I don't discount experiences and stuff like that, but don't try to bring it into being more than what it is or go beyond that. Because it could or cannot be. Because the problem is the moment you keep trying to define it and be making it more, you're going to get 9 times out of 10, you're going to get disappointed because it's not going to be that thing. And then because it's not that thing, you're even more adamant about making sure that it is. And then suddenly we have Trump as president. Uh,
Yep.
it's
And
just,
there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Blame the paranormal for Trump being president.
oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I'd say
No, I mean,
don't
I blame the paranormal for government in general.
we had
I've
that
seen
too.
what they do at Camp David. Well, I still got plenty of we've got about what 15 minutes left. I've still got plenty of
Yeah,
stories on here if nobody else calls in.
yeah, no, yeah, please.
Um,
I've got a couple other general stuff. Like I basically I went to research a little bit more about places and stuff like that.
yeah,
I would rather let's talk about more personal experiences. I will pepper in my stuff as we get it kind of light.
yeah. Well, here, I'll do this one, and how about you? You do like a more famous one. So
Sure.
a friend of mine, I've known this person for a very long time, and they said their daughter has an old man in her room who smells of cigars, and my dogs know when he is around. 3 people have died in our home, so we think he is the owner 2 times before us. And like that's another weird thing, like smells, like certain smells, like they just kind of come out of nowhere. Like because I mean I know their family, they don't smoke, and their daughters are young. One of them, just got over cancer. High five, Willow. Great job, kiddo.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, I used to drive an '88 Cadillac hearse, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's a scary car. It's it's haunted." I'm like, nobody's ever died.
Scab, you're freezing up on us.
Blueberry muffin in nowhere in the car. You froze up on me too. Oh, there it goes. A little better.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. I'm my signal's strong on my end, so I don't know. But so blueberry, you said it's car, so you had weird
Am I a
smell of
little better
blueberry.
now?
Yeah, you seem to be. I mean, your vocal audio seems a bit better, but you're kind of
Yeah, I was driving around in my hearse, and that'll that a little better now.
Seems to be.
Yeah. Okay. I went blurry and then went back to normal. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, I used to drive an old hearse, and people would be like, "That's a haunted, spooky car," and it's like, well, nobody ever died in a hearse, like, so it's not that haunted. But yeah, I would smell muffins occasionally, just driving around. So smells are definitely weird.
Well, yeah, I mentioned that earlier with when I talked about the hotel.
Well, here, you want to?
Want me to do one? You're freezing up again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take the. Yeah.
My phone settles down a little bit.
I will. Let me go over one for everybody while you get your signal issue taken care of. So I want to talk about the Paramount Theater, which is located here in Austin, Texas. It's been a little over 100 years old, and apparently they have several different things that kind of pop up every once in a while, including things of sightings of an elderly gentleman who would be smoking a cigar in the stage right opera box even though the smoking area is on stage left. So people would smell cigar smoke. And then other people would see like a woman in a formal white gown. White gown is very common in a lot of ghost stories. Walking through the lobby, and then it looks like she disappears through the wall. What's interesting, the fact is the site of the theater is actually on where the War Department for the Republic of Texas used to be. So it's the people believe that at least the woman in white could be a war widow. And then there's one other thing which somebody says I keep seeing like nurses' shoes, just the shoes, walking across the stage, and stuff like that late at night. So the Paramount Theater is over 100 years old, right here in Austin, Texas.
I have actually heard about the Paramount Theater stories before. I mean, probably on some random internet show or, random ghost TV show that I've watched for some reason.
Probably. It's one of the. I tried to look at the more famous haunted spaces of the area, and so Paramount doesn't surprise me. The Paramount popped out.
Yeah. I mean, like places like that, very old buildings that have like only just been slightly restored. I could totally see how there'd be like some kind of residual energy or haunting going on in them. It's just like old porous, bricks, just like pulling in that energy, holding it there, and then like it just kind of like things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, then there's stuff like this. My sister is haunted / poltergeist, whatever. Ridiculous stuff happens around her. I mean, I'd like a little more information on stuff like that, but
yeah,
because haunted people are definitely a thing too. Also, I'm just gonna call him out. Our buddy Jedi, Michael.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is secondhand from my cousin, but he lived in some government housing and they converted some old apartments by cinder blocking over the basement doors to make them smaller. So my cousin says that in his shotgun apartment, when he was on the couch watching TV, occasionally would see someone either sitting at the table in the kitchen or he would see someone with their back to him looking out the window by the sink. He's sure there is somebody hidden in that basement. But I mean, that's the ghost story he told me. But I will say the block was hot and shot up. And the place where there should be a door was a bunch of concrete that didn't really match the rest of his place. So, yeah. I mean, again, another old building, just like.
Yeah. It could,
another old building right here. Grew up in a house built in 1830. Grew up in a house built in 1830. Original kitchen and slave quarters burned down while we lived there as well as other instances of spontaneous combustion. Had an imaginary friend named Bobby. Also my son's first word. When I was pregnant with my son, I saw my great grandpa and laid on the couch with him in a dream. And when I woke up, I'd sleepwalked to that spot. Used to have all kinds of weird things and smells at our old restaurant in the quarter. Some people think my current house is haunted, especially women. There's a strong male presence in this house, and people have heard walking and cabinets closed when no one else was there. I mean, yeah, in the quarter, yeah, New Orleans, haunted city.
That's yeah. I took before the I showed up a day early from the for the Great Southern Sight of Hootenanny when they had a live show there back in March. And so we got brought on a special tour guide to do a walking tour of New Orleans. But our tour guide was hired special because he knew somebody in the group. So we got a little extra fun stuff, and so it was a lot of fun. Like, and the quarter is also one of the type of places where there's like 8,000 tours, especially of the haunted tours. But like, so it was really kind of fun for us to do a tour walking with this guy, and then we walk by like 3 other tours also. But we have to see all this really cool stuff, and like literally, there's some stuff where we see some people in front of a place talking. He just walk right by, and he goes, "I go, that's not a place we're talking about. Let's going to talk about this stuff though down here." So it's like one of those. So we get it's like that weird kind of like not only do we get the big meat of like some of the bigger stories, but we also get some smaller stuff that may not have been a part of other tours or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We did a one of the buggy tours, the haunted buggy tours. You got to
Yeah.
ride a mule drawn buggy, but we stopped in front of that really haunted house that Cage owned
What's her name?
at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
But Nicolas Cage ended up owning that house, so
Oh yeah, that was
we
what's her name's house?
like
The one that like kept all did the experiments on all her slaves and killed people and stuff like that. That one?
Yeah, but we we were sitting there and he was telling us about that stuff, and then some drunk homeless dude comes up and he was like, he's lying to you, none of that happened here, blah blah blah. He starts screaming at us, and that guy was like, he does this every time I come by. So I mean, yeah, I mean, some people believe it, some people don't.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I've always thought about doing that bit.
well, give me $1 and I'll leave you alone.
We only got a couple minutes left. Anything else you wanted to get to?
No. Let's. I mean, I don't. I mean, the only other.
This one's interesting. There's a picture
okay.
involved with it too.
Okay. Let's hear. Or at least the story.
Okay. So we lived in an old house on a lot of land. We went for a walk, and my daughter took a picture of a rabbit hole? ? That's back when we still got film developed. Like all us old people know what that is. All the other pics were fine. This one, well, you can clearly see that what's in it. Later, we found out a mom and little boy died there. The little boy left gifts for my daughter, like coloring book pages that were scribbled on and old toy soldiers. And this one, I mean, you can kind of see a face in it. There's like a weird like discoloration. I mean, very common in old photos like that, but still.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting picture. I mean, you can kind of looks like a skull up there. Definitely weird. I mean, it is a random picture of just like a rabbit hole, but still, like,
yeah.
But also, like, I've heard that a lot too. Like gifts being left. Like toys and just random things being left in certain spots, and it's like, where the hell did this come from? Why is this here?
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, just about out of time. As always, we love talking about ghost stories and stuff like that. For people who may be watching, whenever you decide to watch, we do appreciate when you do so. If you have any ghost stories, alien stories, or anything about the paranormal, supernatural, just weird shit, we'd love to hear from you. And we'll, if it pops in for us to talk about, we'll talk about it. Or if it's a really good subject, maybe we'll bring you on for the show and talk about this stuff at length, because we like talking about this stuff. That's why we do it, because we enjoy talking about it. Pulling up my calendar.
Yeah, I mean, whether we believe in it or not, like, yeah, it's always interesting to talk about.
Yeah. So let's get the plugs out of the way. Do you have anything going on?
No, I mean, I've got a kids party coming up, and Creepy Hollow's opening back up the 18th and 19th for our Christmas scare. Come out. There's going to be Krampus and Satan Claus and all the fun stuff.
That sounds fun.
But other than that, I do have a gig Christmas Day, but I'll post about that later when it gets a little closer.
Well, that's fair. And then, of course, you can tune in to see Scabs on Saturdays at Stupid Live Stream for Stupid People at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, where he'll be talking to somebody and of all different walks of life.
Yeah, that's something we need to talk about, because there's a couple options there.
We'll talk off air. And then of course, for myself, Wednesday is the Devil's Hour. I'm going to have Coco Rosie's, who's a really great artist out of Europe. I've got Redline Drive, this is a really great band out of Dallas. And then I think I'm going to bring back and do a little Sylvia Salamanca, who's like like the third best belly dancer in the world and a good friend. So I've got some really good stuff with her. So we're going to showcase that sort of stuff. And then you'll see me on the G Spot on Saturday, right after live stream with Super People, finalizing my guest for that as well. And then on Monday, we're going to be back here, and we're going to be talking about, we were kind of talking about it earlier, like offhandedly, about the idea of coincidences and the frequency on whether, it's both whether or not it is truly coincidental or it's actually something that's planned. And so that's a lot of fun. Interesting.
Or if it's just a rumor that, kind of went around, like that whole, all the coincidences between Lincoln and Kennedy's assassinations. Half that stuff was proven not to be real, but half of it still was real.
It's the idea as far as is it pareidolia? Is it pareidolia, or is it actually something real? And so we're going to kind of talk about some stuff. So if you who are watching have any actual experiences within this, drop us a line. Like it's Todd and the Watch. That's a good, both a kind of a haunted thing, but also an example of that whole weird thing. Is it real or a coincidence?
I was going to bring that up earlier, but I wanted to wait till the end of the show.
That's the idea at the end. So that's why we're wrapping up. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. Thank you guys so much for coming in to watching us. We get a lot of people watching later, so a lot of repeat views, which is really great. We do appreciate that. We want to make sure we try to make this entertaining for people, because we find
it's something for sure.
It is something we like talking about, which is why we've done it now for for 4 months now. So obviously we at least find it entertaining. So that's usually 90% of most entertainment is people, they do it because they enjoy doing it, or so we enjoy doing it. So thank you guys for tuning in, everything like that. Everybody be safe, be cool, be groovy, mask up, keep your social distance, because preliminary
off into your elbow
good.
so you look cool.
Yeah. Preliminary numbers don't look good after the holiday. So please, I want to be on stage. I just want to see people again, like live people, not through the internet. I want to see real people again, and I can't do that if people keep getting sick. I'm not so much worried as much as myself getting sick. My thing is, I'm pretty sure of all things, I'd be a carrier, not a carrier of it, and I don't want to catch it then inadvertently give it to somebody, because I would feel awful. That's why I don't want to do stage stuff, is because I would feel guilty about causing illness.
Yeah, so. And for once in my life, I'm actually paying attention to my health and how I feel and stuff. It's interesting.
What? I get fat because I drink beer? Weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh well.
Yeah. Anyway, once again, thank you guys for being part of watching the show. Be cool, be groovy, and as always, keep drinking, everybody.
Keep up.